Hi everybody, this is Rita Townsend and special co-host this afternoon, which I am going to introduce to you in a minute. Let me tag a few people first, and then I want to thank you all for joining me. And I love it when you join me live, but there's a lot of people that simply aren't able to do that. So I would invite you to comment and share just the same. And we're going to keep tagging. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna do this real quick so we can get a few people on for my celebrity co-host today. All right, great, thanks. I'm Rita Townsend, and I'm going to introduce my friend and co-host in just a minute. So welcome. I promised you last week that I was not going to do another COVID Facebook Live, so we're moving on to something that we're all suffering from. And no, it's not COVID. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it as we go along. So I want to share some information with you I think that you can all relate to. It was actually shared to me by a good friend who, like a lot of us, really watch all these things that are going on in the world of aging and how to slow it down. So I want to share how it's defined, a personal experience that I have had, and then we're going to share some information with you about what you can do about it. And that will be my friend and co-host who will be sharing that with you. So Christine Fletcher and I have been working together for 5 years, 6 years, a while. And I love my business and my company because I get to work with just awesome people who are smart and capable. And they're like me. They're working really hard to have a great life and to stay healthy. Hi, Suzanne, welcome. Try to stay healthy and enjoy that life, because at this point in our lives, it's really not about the numbers. It's really about what we can do for the rest of our lives. And I want to just share one little caveat with you. I understand about how you want to look good. I do too. I work real hard at that. But we really need to focus on what's going on inside of you, because there's a lot that you can do to cover up what's going on the outside, but there's some very specific things that you need to be doing to help what's going on in the inside, to give you that long and healthy, vitality-filled life that you want to have. So I'm going to give you some statistics. Now, this information is from a journal, a Wall Street Journal article, but it was the contribution was from a lot of different people, including Harvard. And it really piqued my interest, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Here's an interesting fact. Did you know that every year that you're alive, that your risk of dying increases by 10%? So in your 30s, your odds of death in any given year are less than 1 in 1,000. But by the time you're approaching 90, well, you'll be lucky if you hit 91. So that's just the facts, and we all know it. And sadly, we've seen that aging population and how vulnerable they were to the word that I said I wasn't going to say today, but you all know what it was. So what does this have to do with the Galapagos turtles? And I have a friend on with me today who is enjoying that experience with me. So I'm going to tell you what it has to do with Galapagos turtles. So about a year ago, I had the good fortune to see these guys in person. I made a trip to one of the main island of Galapagos. And here's what happens. When you get off the airplane, you walk through misters. Your hands are swabbed. Now, this was way before COVID. Your hands are swabbed. Your luggage is inspected. Your luggage is sprayed twice. The reason is they want their environment to be pristine. They are working to conserve their very, very special, one-of-a-kind environment. And those are simple measures that they do to preserve these Galapagos turtles. But what has been happening is that science has been studying these turtles for a very long time, trying to understand why they are living so long. Some of them have actually lived for as long as 200 years. Now, there are some in this area of Galapagos that literally live to 176 years of age. Now, we know they don't have any predators, and we know they live in a pristine ecological environment, but there's also a few other things going on that science has been studying for a really long time, and it's their biological mechanism. So, they are very, very slow creatures. In fact, if you get to see a Galapagos turtle, you will be standing and waiting to see if he really moves at all. That's how slow they are, and they're usually moving to go and get food. Makes perfect sense, right? So what science has discovered about that is that very, very slow pace of life has preserved their metabolism. And while we're hurrying around and eating toxic foods and living in a toxic environment and living a very stressful life, our free radical damage is just raging. And so we're just the opposite of the Galapagos turtles. So we are trimming our lifespan constantly. Here's another really interesting statistic for you. The average 80-year-old is suffering from 5 different diagnoses and taking about that same number of medications. So as we know, in the United States, most of us, our healthcare treatment is based on what we can treat with pharmaceuticals as soon as we can treat it. And what happens with that, we end up treating a number of different elements. So science is really rapidly moving toward ways to slow down that aging and that damaging process and give us greater odds of living, but not just living long, but really living a quality life. So we know from science that there are some recommendations on things that we need to do. Now, throughout the word that I'm not going to say, we've talked about diet, nutrition, exercise, and some necessary things that you need to take to really clean up your pathways and really be healthy on a cellular level. So we've known that, and I think a lot of other people have gotten a lot of education about that. So for me personally, I've been studying this and I've been embracing this for about 9 years. And I know I'm aging, and recently I've had a couple of injuries that have reminded me that I'm aging. But despite the other people who've had similar setbacks or injuries, I did not require surgery. I did not require any steroid injections. I went through physical therapy and was able to rehab my way through some pretty significant injuries. And I'm back to the gym and my exercise classes every day. But you already know I'm a huge believer in that. So that has been something that for many years has been a part of what I know is possible. But today I want Chris to really share her personal story as well. We know from science that there are genetic pathways that we can really activate to slow this aging process. But we want to share with you today a little bit of the real world of how that happens. So Chris, like I said, probably smarter than me, very capable, one of the very first women FAA control tower managers in the United States. Now that's a high pressure job, as you know, and that was her career. So I would say she has a pretty quick mind. So today she's going to share a little bit more about what happened after she left that amazing job.
Wow, Rita. You know, you have such an interesting story, and that's probably for me one of my favorite parts of being involved in this company, and having used all of their products myself for over the last 7 years, is hearing personal testimonials of how activation has helped so many people with their issues. So I, of course, have my own testimonial of how much better my life is now. So my story is, for years, I unsuspectingly suffered from breast implant illness symptoms. And because these type of symptoms are so frequently misdiagnosed as other illnesses, I had no idea I was actually being misdiagnosed myself. The list of breast implant illness symptoms is long, and I had over 16 of them myself. But luckily, I was introduced to this product line of activators about 5 years before I was actually able to remove my breast implants. And what I have learned is that it doesn't really matter what type of illness, symptoms you are suffering from, it's all about getting your cells healthy from the free radical damage that Rita had mentioned. There are hundreds and hundreds of diseases linked to cellular damage. And Rita, as you just pointed out, it doesn't matter if you're a tortoise, a porpoise, a dog, or a Homo sapien. All of us have cells that are damaged by aging and environmental toxins. Even the food we eat creates waste toxins, exercise too. So I think it's really interesting the way I kind of have processed through this, but I think this company proves the imperative need to improve your cellular health in their skin and hair care systems. I mean, who doesn't go to the store and stare at the endless array of products that are specifically designed for your particular hair or skin type? I mean, is your skin dry? Is it oily? Is it acne riddled, sun damaged? Is your hair colored, permed, dandruff plagued? You get my drift, right? But this company only has one skincare package. It only has one hair care package. And how could that possibly serve the need of every individual user? Because it's not about your hair. It's not about your skin. It's not about what supplements you're taking, what disease symptoms you have, what food you're eating, although we all do know that it's imperative to have good nutrition for many other reasons. It doesn't matter about what type of exercise or how much exercise you're doing. It's all about getting your cells healthy. And once you have your cellular health restored, which can only be accomplished through activation, then your cells can start producing, once again, the healing enzymes you long ago produced as a kid, before you started aging, before the world poisoned us with environmental toxins. And once your cells start aging properly again, then every physical complaint you're suffering from starts to subside. And granted, it may take time, but it took us time to age, right? So activation has changed my life. I have never felt this good. I have never gone for such long periods of times between common illnesses like the cold and things like that. I have never had as much confidence in my own body's immune system to protect me from whatever may come next. And even though I'm still detoxing from the poison I put myself through with a poor decision based 100% on egotistical reasons to implant, which at the time was FDA approved, silicone bagged, silicone filled, textured breast implants, I know that my body cells are working as efficiently as possible because of these 3 activators. So now I am an advocate to each and every person within earshot to become your own health advocate. Do your own research. Use products that make sense and are backed by science. Don't jump on a trending product just because the marketing may be catchy, but it's actually laced with deceit. Your body does not respond well or long-term to gimmick products. I have been deceived before, and now I steer away as best I can from big pharma, and I'm convinced that all natural products backed by scientific, verifiable research have an important place in my personal choice, my healthcare decisions.
Good job. Okay, so we're streaming this out over numerous pages today. So you can contact Chris directly on her Facebook page.
Absolutely.
And I think you've got a group page that's probably listening in today. You know how to contact Chris. And as always, you know how to contact me on my Facebook. And I will also put this recording today in my YouTube channel. So maybe you want to share it with some friends. Maybe you just need to listen to this information again. But as always, please reach out with your questions. We love to send you information. We love to send you research. And the next step for you may be just looking at what the possibilities are. And I encourage you to do that, because we've all been doing that for a while. And we're just reaping the benefits. So thanks for joining us, guys. I love it. I've got some friends on here that I love having on. So thanks very much for joining us, guys. We're going to sign off for today. Golly, I don't know how we'll top this next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.